Welcome back to a fresh top shelf. If you're new here, my top shelf series is basically, I let this room get completely out of control because I have no object permanence, and then I'm forced to clean it. And as I'm cleaning it, it helps me understand how to interact with my beauty collection in an intuitive way again. I hold things in my hand, Marie Kondo style, and I go, well, this sparks joy. I don't want to put this back in storage because I will either A, just pull it right back out, or B, I'll forget it exists and that would break my heart. And so that is what the collection sitting in front of me is. This is a really valuable exercise, I think, especially as a creator who reviews beauty, because I churn through so much makeup and I'm constantly comparing things to one another. I really like to put emphasis on like video themes where we get to distill things down to what I genuinely think rises to the top. And I also love that it removes my preferences from a temporal context. It's not about it being new. So I am excited to share those things with you. We have a little bit of skincare, a little bit of perfume, and then mostly just makeup. But first I want to talk to y'all about today's sponsor. I am so excited to be working today again with Current Body. If you are unfamiliar with Current Body, get familiar with Current Body because they are the ultimate destination for beauty devices. I'm a huge beauty device fan because I love having something that can be part of my routine. It's a one-time purchase. It's not a subscription. It's not like auto refill or something like that. I've got their LED mask. I've got that new face. I mean, think of any possible anti-aging device. I guarantee you they have the best selection of it on the internet. Today I'm going to talk to you all about their new radio frequency device. This thing is awesome, okay? There are a lot of different devices out there that have, you know, different kind of techniques and time sensitivities and maybe different sensations and things like that. And I'm here to tell y'all that this is so effective and completely painless and honestly kind of like fun and meditative to use. So you have to plug it in to use it. I'll stick some footage in so that you can see what it does. But radio frequency does exactly what we're all wanting out of an anti-aging device, right? It stimulates collagen production, which is something that we're all losing with age. We just are, it's just a fact. And what that does is it just kind of plumps your skin from within, right? It's gonna help with wrinkles, it's gonna help with just like general gravity defiance at the end of the day. And I'll be honest too, I have Botox, and I've had Botox for the last like 6 years, like up on this part of my face. So we're not talking about that. I'm not claiming that these results are a result of the radio frequency. I've been using it basically on the like lower 2/3 of my face, as well as on my neck, not your thyroid. Don't stick it directly on your thyroid, but everywhere else is in play. And I've seen such amazing results because I was starting to notice just some like neck sagging or just kind of like feeling like my skin was a little more mobile than it had been before. And I mean, that's a very common thing with aging. I'm not saying that's a bad thing necessarily, but I was like, if we could do something about it, just kind of slow that down, that'd be cool, you know? I've been getting so many comments, people being like, Kackie, you look great. Like I got on FaceTime with a friend last night, she was like, you look fantastic. And I was like, well, I have been eating a Mediterranean diet. But no, I mean, I really think that it has a lot to do with using this radio frequency device from Current Body because you only use it once a week. You start to see results within the first couple of weeks, but you're supposed to see like full results by 8 weeks. And then it's just kind of a maintenance cycle. And the sensation of it is actually really lovely. It has all of these sensors built into it. Like there's so much technology in this thing. As these are making contact with your face, they're warming, and it has 3 settings so that, you know, you can do it to your comfort level. It's just warm in a really nice, I think it's a really nice way. And you're just kind of using it in like these circular motions, and the light tells you how long it takes to get through like power cycle and things like that. And you just sort of like cycle it through different parts of your face. And the technology in here is constantly monitoring the temperature so that it is reaching that optimal temperature for collagen production below the skin without doing any kind of damage or hurting or getting too hot or anything. So I really can't emphasize enough how easy this was to integrate into my routine. It's only once a week and it's kind of a pleasure to use. And also the results were really satisfying. It actually delivers results 50% faster than other radio frequency devices on the market. So if you're interested, I have a code down below for 10% off at Current Body on the radio frequency device. Check out anything else on their website too. Like I said, they are a destination, honestly, the destination for beauty devices. So I highly recommend checking them out. Click my link down below to shop, and thank you to Current Body for sponsoring a portion of today's video. So that's really the first item that's on my top shelf, but let's go ahead and get into the rest of them. Yeah, I think I'm overlit. I've been getting these comments from people lately being like, Kackie, like you look great. And I'm like, okay, first of all, my hair grew back in. That's huge. It's a year of Nutrafol. I'm not gonna call that top shelf, you know, but also I have had some major, honestly, luck with my skin lately. Y'all know because I talked about it a couple videos ago, I've been on spironolactone and that's really helped with my acne. I still pick, y'all. I still pick. And so the fact that it's just not there at all means that like I am less tempted to pick and we're all just in a better cycle all together. So the spironolactone, I'm not telling anybody to go get on a prescription. I just want y'all to know from a transparent standpoint that like the things I am talking about here, they have effects, but like there are other things at play as well. I just feel like that transparency is important. The other thing that I've been struggling with, and I mean struggling with y'all, is perioral dermatitis. By the way, that's not gonna stay there, but like, that came today. I'm a real YouTuber, y'all. Thank you. Perioral dermatitis. This is one of those products that I used a really long time ago and didn't understand what was making it work so well. And so I moved on to other things because that's what we do. We get eclipsed by other products because things get sent to us or we just hear about something, blah, blah, blah. Either way, it fell off my radar. This is the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Cream. It's as old as the hills. It's been around forever. And I pulled it back out. My boyfriend needed something to put on his hands at night. He was like, my hands are all dry. And I just like went in there and opened a PR package and this was in there. And I gave it to him. He's like, oh, this is so nice. And he's loved it. And now it's his favorite hand cream because it is like an all over cream. But I put it on my face that night just because I had it. It was just sitting there. I was like, you know, whatever. Woke up the next morning and my perioral dermatitis was so improved. So improved. It's so funny how a lot of times we're kind of taught that like, you know, we need to have this multi-step skincare or skin prep routine. And that can be true for a lot of people, but when you have perioral dermatitis or like eczema or something like that, minimal, especially perioral dermatitis. And I think rosacea is kind of in that family of just like too much moisture, too much anything can just like exacerbate it. And so this being like one step, it's not medicated or anything like that, but it does have colloidal oatmeal in it. And by God, I'm so happy that at least my perioral dermatitis responds positively to something that isn't an antibiotic. It isn't something really harsh. It isn't something that I have to stop using after a certain amount of time. It's literally just oatmeal. like that is like the best feeling in the world. It's like such a little life hack to be like, it was oatmeal the whole time? The cold was coming from inside the building, you know? I think that like obsessed is kind of like a negative thing sometimes because it means that you're kind of telling everyone about it. You're like that person who it becomes your whole personality. But I'm like, texting every friend who has told me at some point that they know someone or that their child has had eczema or perioral dermatitis. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I found it. I found the solution. So I am actually like legitimately obsessed with this stuff to the point that I'm like annoying my acquaintances with it. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to have found a solution. And like, that's why my face looks better. Thank you, First Aid Beauty. I'm just like so happy. I also have to talk about this perfume. I'm so lucky to be on the mailing list for Fleur. I love, like their record is pretty much flawless as far as handling scent profiles. Like when they decide that they're going to just like tackle a scent profile, they're gonna put out a perfume in it, it's like, well, that was the best version of that I've ever smelled. And they came out Vanilla Skin, which was a body spray. And I loved the body spray, but it was a body spray. I can't really, I'm not an olfactory expert. I don't know what the difference really is. Someone else can, I mean, Ingrid will tell you, you know, all the percentages of the oils and things like that or whatever, but it did behave more like a body spray. Then, as if we all collectively just kind of like thought it into existence, they heard our prayers and they made Vanilla Skin into an eau de parfum. And it is the most delightful eau de parfum ever. It's one of those things where like, if you walk by someone who's wearing it, you go, what is that? Especially if you're a vanilla person. If you hate vanilla, you know, disregard. But I have been a vanilla girl from birth, from the womb. It's just one of the best vanilla smells ever. And it has an amazing amount of wear time, like so good. So yeah, I just really like this. I want to thank Fleur for sending, like continuing to send me their stuff. But like, this is such a winner chicken dinner. Wow. Wow, it's so lovely. And it's a Sephora. You can go smell it. Let's get into the things that are more makeup oriented, but I do want to start with a primer and a sunscreen. So they are technically still in like the skincare category. So we'll do the sunscreen first. Allies of Skin, the One SPF 50 Invisible Sunscreen Gel. They're not kidding when they call it the One. Okay, I have had I have a perioral dermatitis. I'm like, I feel like I should just like put it on my forehead. Perioral dermatitis has just these really funny preferences about like what you can and can't use. And oddly, like some mineral sunscreens seem to piss it off, but also some chemical sunscreens seem to piss it off. And so I felt like I was just completely at a loss. I was just like, okay, I'm like, you know, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back because I'm always gonna put on sunscreen. I was really afraid to try this because the unseen sunscreen from Supergoop, which tons of people love, I totally get that. And Trader Joe's has actually just put out their own version of it, which, you know, if you are a fan of it, go get it at Trader Joe's, it's way cheaper. But that one always really bugged my skin. It just bugged my skin. It just pissed it off for some reason. It doesn't have octinoxate in it or anything, but like whatever was in it, just my skin hated it. This has the exact same behavior on the skin. In fact, I think it's a little more elegant of a formula. It doesn't feel quite as weird and slippy. It's just not dewy. And it does make this really nice, you can feel a barrier on your skin. And it is just the best, and my skin loves it. I've been wearing it for weeks, every day for weeks, and it's not been bothering my skin. So that is huge for me to find a chemical sunscreen that wears like that, because I'm gonna probably layer a mineral SPF on top of it anyway. So I want something that is just that uncomplaining on the skin. And I just wanted to say, like, if y'all are sensitive to the unseen sunscreen, this might be worth trying. I also have a code with Allies of Skin. You can see that down below. I'm pretty sure it's just Kackie, but I can't say enough about this. Oh, actually, I can say one more thing. It does smell like a pool toy. Allies of Skin is very efficacy based, and so they're not gonna put fragrances in there just because. And so it does smell like what it is, and it smells like a pool toy, you know, just while you're putting it on. It's not like you walk around smelling like a pool toy, and even if you did, you just put on some vanilla skin and like no one would know. Just letting you in on my thought process. All right, the other thing that I put on before makeup is the NARS Light Reflecting Hydrating Primer. Look at this stuff, look at it. It's so pretty. Ooh, it's got this really pretty like pearly reflect on it, but it's like a clear base. You know what I mean? It's not gonna go ashy on anybody, but it sure does hydrate my skin. It is a really great one-step skin prep. Like I said, I cannot right now risk layering tons and tons and tons of different skin prep products on, especially if I'm using 2 sunscreens. I still want the hydration and the wear time, but I can't be just using like 18 products because my dermatitis loves to just take any excuse to come back. Either way, I love a primer that in one step makes my skin look like it's doing better than it is. And this one's a little bit better for summer because it's not very heavy. I think that it would work for a lot of different skin types, but it does give this really pretty, like not just a functionality, but also like a cosmetic appearance of like moisturized skin. And I really like it. Okay, complexion, foundations, and things like that. I have 2 foundations. I just have 2. And really, one of them is, I feel a duty to mention it, but it's definitely not been in heavy rotation. The one that has been in heavy rotation, and it's like the only thing I use right now, is the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Tint. Like, I don't know what she did here. We don't ask questions. This is the most beautiful skin tint I have ever used. I'm wearing it today. It behaves very much like the Prada, okay, which is the other one, spoiler alert, but just such a skin tint version of the Prada, and no fragrance and none of the weird like sunscreen ingredients in it. And honestly, this is very subjective, but like my skin seems to really like whatever the skincare ingredients are in this. And there are skincare ingredients that she put in this. Like, I wash this off at the end of the day and my skin is better for it. A skin tint has no business performing this well, okay? Like, you think skin tint, you think short wear time, you think wear in, not wear off kind of thing. It's not something that you're going to be able to like powder and like rely on, right? Not so. It's like, oh, if you liked the Kosas tinted oil, this is like a Kosas tinted oil that performs. It actually like transforms on the skin, and I mean, it's just flawless. I can't say enough about it. I really can't. Like, it is one of the most beautiful complexion products I've ever used in my life. To the point that like, I have eschewed everything else. So yeah, the only other thing that I'm mentioning here is the Prada, and I just feel like I couldn't put it away. Like, it still is top shelf for me, and so it still gives me tingles because I think it's so special. But I'm being honest, have I been wearing it? No, because the Lisa Eldridge looks like this right when you put it on, and also 10 hours later. Why am I gonna screw up with anything else, okay? Right now it is the solution. She is the moment. Concealers? I feel like I'm losing my mind. It was literally just sitting here and I have it on my face, so I feel okay talking about it, but it's just so bananas how like I already put everything away and something still managed to disappear into what? I don't even know. The room is actually clean. I have 4 concealers to talk about today. This one, y'all are all familiar with, but if you're not, Tower 28, it's $22. It's a very high performing concealer. I love it very much. I mean, you can see, I'm not sure if you can see that, but like I'm scraping the sides of it. It's something that is in heavy rotation and has been in heavy rotation for me since it came out. I love the shade range. I wear, actually, yeah, I wear CC. This is BU. I don't know why I have this one out. It's probably because I cleaned up. You know what I mean? I just kind of like put one away, kept one out kind of thing. This is not my shade. It still would work. It's just kind of a little bit light and cool. Then we have a new girl at the party, but it's like not new. And neither is the other one that I'm going to talk about that I somehow apparently just like incinerated. I don't know what I did. But this is the Jouer High Coverage Liquid Concealer, Essential High Coverage Liquid Concealer. I got this back in my hands. I used this years ago, but like what an exceptional product and what a great shade match in creme. Look at that. It's so, it like almost disappears into my skin. This is one of those super, super flexible concealers because it has enough moisture to it that I can wear it, but it has a matte enough finish that someone with oily skin could wear it. It's committed enough that it will really cover a blemish, but it's seamless enough that if you put it on with no foundation, it will blend in and disappear and look like skin. I love when I find a product that I can't explain. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how they did that, but it's really, really nice for me because I have been struggling with some acne and it also works well underneath my eyes. So it's like if I'm packing for a trip, it's usually this one. And if it's not that one, it's the Hourglass. The Hourglass one is the one that I somehow seem to have just like, I don't know what I did with it. Either way, I have it in a shade that's really, really similar to my skin tone. I think it's Silk. And so that's one that I will wear with nothing else. And I almost use it as a selective coverage foundation because it has a very similar finish to the Jouer. Not quite as much coverage. And so I feel like it blends really seamlessly out and you can use it as a foundation almost. It's beautiful. I love it so much. And it's another one that I had for years. And then I ran out of it, tried something else and just moved on. But like they sent another one to me and I was like, oh, I forgot how great this is. And then another blast from the past. That's why I love a top shelf is because it's not about it being new. The Touche Éclat from YSL, they sent this to me recently and it was so well timed because I have in my everyday, like lately I've been kind of excited to like get done up for the camera and stuff. Like it's more fun to edit me when I'm all done up. That's just me. On regular days, like when I'm doing my regular makeup just for me, just for life, I haven't been putting concealer underneath my eyes because I kind of just feel like it does look quite done. You know what I mean? It's very polished, it's very perfected, and I love that. I love having the option, but I don't always want to look like that, and I love being able to kind of enhance my features and not look like I'm really wearing a ton of makeup kind of thing. And I feel like one of the biggest hacks for me to like have the illusion that I'm not wearing very much makeup is that I just don't put it underneath my eyes. This is a really great product that I used to really see absolutely no purpose in back when I first started my channel. I think I bought it actually. It was like one of the first luxury products that I ever bought on my channel. And I was like, what a waste of money. This is so pointless. It has no coverage because back then we wanted coverage. Now I understand that it's about hydration and it's about brightening and it's about having something that does a little bit of something underneath my eyes, but doesn't make me look super made up. And it can just be a really nice thing. I don't think that there's anything wrong with looking super made up. I just think that it's fun just to be able to like have options and know how to achieve what you want that day. And this helps me achieve what I want that day in like a, you know, like I said, like a polished, perfected way, but it doesn't look like makeup. I don't know who I think I'm tricking, but it works for me. Powders, I mean, we're talking Laura Mercier and Kosas. This comes in a ton of shades and has more coverage, very perfecting and blurring, but great for dry skin. And the Laura Mercier is like, if you have oily skin, do not, I repeat, do not buy this because you will be like, what in the heck? This is not powder. And also I hard panned it instantly. Like it is this nothing, absolute nothing of a powder, which is perfect for someone like me, especially when I just want to like change the texture of something on my skin and not have any coverage added. And it still comes in, I think, 3 shades. So it is for everyone, but it's lovely. It's lovely to have powder that never looks like it's there. It's magical stuff. All right, let's talk about some in-betweeny products because Hermes only seems to want to make in-betweeny products, you know? They're like, it's not a bronzer, it's a mineral powder, you know, but like they're definitely bronzer shades. So I have had this one for a while and I have just bought this thing. They both call themselves Plein Air powders, but they're very clearly a bronzer and a highlighter, okay? And I have used my Scotch tape to like unhard pan this a couple of times, works like a charm. So fear not that like the H seems to be encased in hard pan. This is so awesome because I am wearing this basically like anywhere that I would powder, except like in between the powder and the bronzer. It sort of serves the same purpose that the Victoria Beckham bronzing brick used to for me, but just all in one pan. And it makes everything so seamless. The difference between putting bronzer on and then putting bronzer on with this alongside it, I know it's such a dumb extra step. And you don't have to buy the Hermes one, okay? You could just get a face powder in a like slightly deeper shade, as long as it's like an undertone that doesn't disagree with your skin or whatever. Like you don't have to do the Hermes. But having this as a step and, you know, a technique almost that's part of my routine is what makes everything look so blended. It's not just that I blended everything together really well, it's that I used another product to kind of like blur the disparate things together, and it's like, Plus, especially on like summery skin, like that color is quite nice for adding like healthiness to my face. In fact, I believe it's called the Healthy Glow Mineral Powder, and it does. It like adds like a healthy look to my skin. So, you know, is it worth $105? Probably not to you, but it is to me, and that's my own personal shame, and that's fine. Anyway, this highlighter, they're all scented, by the way. Like, I'm used to it, but there is a scent. It's kind of like baby powder, or like baby wipes, really. This is one of the most beautiful highlighters I've ever found. Now, can you find another highlighter like this for a less of price? Yes, absolutely. I don't know what that sentence was, but you got the point. It's just pretty. It just does really beautiful things. And again, it's one of those in-betweeny products where you're like, is it a highlighter or is it a powder? It's somewhere in between. And Hermes knows that. And that's, I think, what makes it special. That and, you know, packaging. And whatever suspension of disbelief in your brain that you have to use in order to think of something being called Hermes and being worth that amount of money. And I know that that's not everybody's thing. Now, in terms of a highlighter that is still expensive, but less than half the price of that, is this one from Natasha Denona, and it does come in shades. This is so good. This is the weirdest stuff ever. And I loved her original highlighter, like the old one. I'm not surprised that I love this. This is the Natasha Denona High Gen Skincare Infused Glow Beautifier. Not to be confused with a highlighter. We never want to call things what they are anymore. So I have this in 01 Light, and it is this weird, like gel hybrid formula. And the way that like the Hermes, you know, has all these different shades in it, and then you kind of blur them together. Although I have used each pan individually, as you know, I'll use like the very pearly one on my inner corner and stuff. So it does serve as a little bit of a palette in that sense. But like, those are the same color. The Hermes is a lot less metallic, and this is a wet look, but at the same time, this one is claiming to be a powder and this one's claiming to be a glow beautifier or something. Do with that information what you will. But either way, like, look at how similar the actual tones are, right? Like, no wonder I like both of them. They're just kind of the same color in different textures. I love a good kind of like ballerina pink highlighter. Also on highlighters, I'm like skipping over blush for some reason. Oh my God, the hourglass is right here. It was standing up instead of lying down. I am my own worst enemy. I get in my own way so much. Anyway, I put one of these away and then my heart broke because I saw it deigning to consort with all of the other highlighters in the drawer, and I was like, nay, that's not where you belong. Plus your friend out here is lonely. And these are the Baume Essentials from Chanel. I had put Dragé in the drawer because I've been using Mermaid Glow more. And then I was like, oh, I cannot forsake Dragé. Dragé was my original love, and so I pulled her back out just on principle. So if you're unfamiliar with the Baume Essential, it is the best execution of this kind of format of this kind of product, in my opinion. Just like a translucent balm highlight. But the main thing here, and honestly why I might still end up buying a clear one is that what it does for me, yeah, it's a beautiful highlighter. That's Mermaid Glow. It's freaking ridiculous. If you put it underneath your eyes or on crusty powdered makeup or whatever halfway through your day, it rehydrates your skin, does not disturb the makeup underneath, and makes you look like your makeup is fresh again. There are so many of these products out there. Surratt has one that I'm like, on, and like, you know, Victoria Beckham has one that I'm on, and even West Atelier, like I don't like it at all because it's so slippy that it just picks your makeup up. It might as well be a makeup remover. I don't understand how people get that thing to work. But this somehow lays down on top of your other products and doesn't disturb them and just only elegantly enhances your complexion, and so that is why I have 2 of them. They just came out with 3 new ones for summer, and one of them really does look a lot like Mermaid Glow, so like I don't need both of them. And if I buy another one, it's gonna be clear. I really think that a clear one would be a great addition to my routine because I believe in it so much for its power to make the skin look healthy and revived again. It's so effective. So those are both still in heavy rotation, and I didn't want them to be lonely. Okay, let's talk about bronzers and contours real quick, because we just talked about the Hermes bronzer, but it's worth mentioning that there are other things in rotation right now. I am still so in love with the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer, and I'm gonna talk about the blushes in a second too. I'm not gonna get too passionate here because you can see like this is my second one and I'm already on pan. Like I just think the world of this product. It's just a really, really lovely like gel weight, super translucent bronzer formula that's so easy to wear, and it just blends so beautifully into everything because it's really subtle, but it also leaves a really gorgeous texture on the skin. Like that's why I love it so much. It's just instant healthy summer skin to me, but again, I'm not gonna go into too much detail here because we're also going to talk about the blushes. I think that in order to bridge the gap here between bronzer and blush, I will talk about a palette that has both in it, and that is this. I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but I adore this thing. This is the HD Skin Face Essentials palette. This is the lighter one from Make It Forever. It's like $83, I wanna say, and you get so much product and you get so many options, and this cream itself is super long wearing. I would liken it to something like Mob Beauty in the sophistication of its performance. It's not just one of those like creams that warms to the skin and it's just kind of soupy, you know, like it's pretty when you put it on, but you're not gonna get more than like, you know, 4 hours of wear out of it. This is real high performance makeup, but it's in, I think, just such a digestible format for me especially, but also like in the way that I've been talking about makeup lately, where it's like, let's ignore what it's supposed to do. Let's ignore like what part of our face it's supposed to go on and just think in terms of like, do I like the formula? Do I like the color for what it is that I'm trying to accomplish? And this is just it's so travel friendly. The thing is durable as all get out. There's nothing like rattly or chintzy feeling about it. It's heavy. It feels really substantial. And someone asked if you can pop these out, and someone else said like, oh, actually it's very easy, even though they don't, you know, imply it necessarily. Apparently, obviously, because it's a makeup artist oriented company, they make it pretty easy to get these out, but I'm not going to. Either way, I really, really find a lot of use in this because it's like you can constantly move back and forth between warm and cool. So you've got like a spectrum of temperature and a spectrum of saturation and a spectrum of light and dark. Like it just really clicks in my head. And they do have a deeper persuasion of this as well. So I love it. Bought one for my friend Rebecca because I love it so much. Oh dear, there are so many blushes. There are so many blushes. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna have to do this kind of lightning round style. I don't want to be here all day talking about every single one of these blush formulas. So I have 2 of the multi-sticks from Persona. Woo! Guava is the beautiful desaturated coral, and then Georgia is the new one that's like more towards peach, but still beautifully desaturated, just desaturated with more white than it is gray. And like, they're both so freaking lovely. I adore this formula. I love that these are just so summery and easy to wear. And honestly, as far as like delivery system of a cream blush, pans and sticks make the most sense to me. I'm not gonna put this directly on my face, but like, you know, anything you have to squirt out on my hand or something like that, it is one extra step. It's not always something that's gonna like stick in my long-term memory. Like these live in my mind palace because they're so easy to use. There's no kind of difficulty or bar for entry or anything annoying about using them. It's like I intuitively think of them and there they are and I use them. And there's something really lovely about that. So they're not super expensive. They come in a bunch of shades. The Mojave bronzer shade is also incredible for fair skin. So yeah, those have been two of my like heavy rotation cream blushes. Another blush that I have here is the LYS Focused Blush. I'm wearing this right now. The reason that I want to mention this because I love it, but also yesterday it came back into stock. It's been out of stock for like months because it's the best color. It's like the perfect like one and done sunburn shade on the skin. It's got a little shimmer to it and it just enlivens my face in this way that's like, I don't have to layer a bunch of blushes to get there. It's such an they call it a warm cinnamon. Like, sure, fine, whatever. All I know is it is a standalone color on me that I can't even put my finger on. Red, rose, terracotta, coral? Rust, you know what I mean? It's just kind of this perfect natural flush color on me. And LYS is really good at making these things work on lots of different skin tones and they're a big 20 bucks. It's fantastic. I want to talk about this real quick because it's been so special. This is the ABH Blurring Serum Blush. This is a very drugstore package in my opinion, but I do love this little like needle tip that they put on there. And these are awesome. As far as being a serum, they really are a serum. And do I think that they're all special? No. Do I think that the shade is special? Yes. This is called Baby Pink. On what planet? I don't know. But on an olive skin tone, you probably actually would achieve baby pink. I very much recommend this for a pale olive or even a medium olive. It might be a little ashy, but you know, test it out. They're at Ulta, they're at Sephora. I just think that this color specifically is worth checking out because I know that it's something that's kind of uncommon. Now, they have been becoming more common lately. A lot of brands are putting out lilacs, but like, I swatch a lot of lilacs next to this and very few of them are this lavender, okay? Like when you put something next to it, you're like, oh, okay, like I thought I was looking at lilac, but like that's lavender. So for example, here is the Makeup by Mario in Pink Peony. And this I use very much as a lilac shade on me. I do not use it as a pink. It is quite blue, you know, and I'm wearing it right now. I love it. I love the way that these, and you saw it in the video where I was talking about temperature, where I topped it off with the orange, and it made such an instant visual difference in like making the cheeks look plump because the texture is so delicious. It's so healthy looking that just like the tiniest amount of it to top off your blush look brings your skin back to life in like that, you know, what Patrick Ta is going for kind of way, but this is, I think, a more sophisticated cream formula than the Patrick Ta cream formulas that are in his blush duos. So I use that as a lilac on me, but it's much pinker in profile than that ABH. The ABH is so purple, it's so lavender. And so if you're looking at that, like there are probably people who are like, cool, neat, Kackie, who cares? And then there are people who are looking at that going, oh my God, finally. I mean, and it's like you don't know until you see it compared to something that you thought it was kind of thing. And so I just wanted to point that out. I have loved using both of those, but this is just so fully committed that it's worth noting just for the sake of the color. The formula is great, but I don't recommend going and buying all the other colors in this formula. It's not really worth it, but like this color is so special. And look at it, look at the dry down. It goes kind of matte. So it means that like, A, it dries down, and B, it can like work with other things. It can layer with other things because it's not gonna disturb anything. It's a pretty remarkable formula. So that leads me into talking about the Makeup by Mario blushes. I think that the main point that I wanted to hit is the fact that like every look could use this texture on the top of the cheeks. And I'm so glad that he came out with these bright colors because when he first translated that bronzer formula into blushes, they were so pale, they were just kind of like, you know what I mean? And it was kind of hard, I think, to see his vision because they would have worked just as well as that like nice texture to top off a blush look, but like we were all trying to use them as blushes, at least I was. And so it's like, they really didn't have any presence on the skin. I was like, what am I using? Like they're not, by the time I build it up to something I like, it's too gummy, it's pushing it around. Whereas these being vivid enough that I can use them on their own, I finally get the point. Like, I understand his vision now. And what's awesome about these, because, you know, there are these brands, like all these brands are putting out these duos lately, or at least, you know, in their new collections, there's usually some kind of like lilac-y pink and some kind of really bright like orange or coral. The cool thing here, and it's also the reason that like Dior originally only had 2 Backstage Rosy Glow blushes, and one was 001 pink and one was 004 coral, I want to say, is because these are adjusters. This will warm up a look. This will cool off a look. That was actually my original vision for my Finding Ferdinand collection. We were gonna just make adjusters. That was the first thing that I was gonna make. But as it evolved, it became something that was like higher concept, and I was personally really like into, you know, certain shades and stuff like that, and I got a vision. But like, I'm a huge fan, just from a color theory standpoint, of having a translucent adjuster. And those work so beautifully as translucent adjusters. You're done with your makeup and everything else is a little cooler than your cheeks, boop, or everything else is a little warmer than your cheeks, boop, you know what I mean? And it also adds the most beautiful texture to finish the look. It's ridiculous, so beautiful. They were working on our water, and so they turned the water off, and they turned it back on. I didn't realize I had the sink running at the time, and so I was like, what's that sound? Oh, the sink's just running, as if it's haunted. Okay, on to some more blushes here. Y'all, I can't stop buying these NARS blushes. Now that they've, I don't know, re-released them, they got my attention again, and so it's like Behave, Sex Appeal, but this is the one that I just got. Yeah, it's another lilac-y one. And I didn't know that actually. I saw it on display. It had been sitting under the light so long in Sephora that it was like white. And I was like, ooh, like I want this like cool like K-beauty, like extraordinarily light pink. It's even lighter pink than Sex Appeal. And then I opened it and I was like, oh, that's not what that is. Like, that's just a really fantastic neon lilac, which I'm never sad to have another one of. But it's like every time I go to Sephora, I'm always like, I guess I'll pick up another one, another color, you know, in the NARS blushes, just because I really like the formula and I love to be able to have so many options. So this formula is just lovely, and I think that the colors are just so unique and useful, and like you can tell, I'm like really making a mess of them. That's how you can tell that I love them. I also, my friend Natalie of my Skintrist, basically in a very sweet way bullied me into buying this because she knew that I would love it, and she was right. And it is the Rose Hermes blush in Rose Tan. Look at that. Just looking at that pan next to my skin, it's like that is a color that is native to my skin. It is such a beautiful, natural looking complement to bronzer. So it's like if I'm just wearing bronzer and then I put this on top, it's like this like beautiful, already like one and done, muted coral rosy color that's like, I tend to use like 3 or 4 products to try and achieve sometimes, and this just does it in one. So she was right. I really only have one thing for the eyes because what I've been using lately has been very normal stuff. Like I bought another Hourglass Ray because I used my last one up, kind of thing. Like this is not news. But I did recently get this. So the main thing that I want to share about this is the Couture Mini Clutch in 300, which is Casbah Spice, I think is what it is, Casbah Spices. I got this as kind of a gift from my friend Steph, Beauty Unhyped, because she had more than one that she had been sent from YSL, and I had been sent 200 and I bought 100. And so I already had 2 of them, but she was like, I have so many of these, like this has to be the one that you keep getting sent. And I was like, no, like I don't have that one, and it's so much less orange in person than I was expecting it to be, because it's always shown on display or on the website next to 100, I think, which is Storadolls, and it makes it look so warm by comparison, and it makes Storadolls look almost silver by comparison. Storadolls is just kind of this side of neutral, like just this side of being the cool side of neutral, and this is, yes, warm, but you can see it on my eyes right now. I have a neutral complexion. You can see that it's a little bit peachy, but extraordinarily wearable. It's by no means stealing the show. It doesn't look very high contrast against my skin. It's just kind of an exciting way to like build shadow and texture, and it's just been so intuitive. I feel like it really works on my eyes because it's like all the colors that are already in my irises kind of thing, and so it's just an intuitive thing to use. I just wanted to basically, I don't know, anybody else who's been looking at this on the website and been like, oh, that's gonna be way too warm. It's not that warm, you know? Like if you're neutral, it's probably going to be like pretty skin native for you. Lips! Dear God in heaven, there are so many. Oh no! Okay, there are so many. So these are representative of formulas like in other shades as well, because I like these formulas so much, but also some of them it is about the shade. So, Ami Collet. This lip oil serum stuff is so incredible. Don't be me. Don't wear too much of it, because sometimes it'll start to gather. It's so viscous and gorgeous. That's the risk that you run always with like a very syrupy lip gloss. And this is very much a lip gloss. They call it a lip oil. It's a lovely, nourishing lip gloss, but it is nonetheless a lip gloss, but it is so freaking pretty. Like so pretty, and like the glow and the gloss of it all is just so satisfying, and I am an absolute sucker for a super glossy lip, and this really gets the job done. This is the shade Bliss. I now have 4 of these. At least 3. This is the Dior Addict Lip Maximizer. I like this one because it's not pH color adjusting. It's just a beautiful plumping gloss that doesn't have any stinging to it. It's just kind of like I don't know, it's a little bit of a minty thing, but not really. It's a nice plump. And it's what I've been wearing this whole time. This is the beige one. Oh my goodness gracious, it's just so sassy. It's so sassy. There's something about it. Like I just see myself in the mirror, especially if I wear it with my Kackie lip liner from Thrive. I'm just like, dang. Like makes me look like I just got lip filler, you know, when in reality it's been like 2.5 years. So love these, have them in multiple colors. I got the blue one too. I think I only have 3, but that's not where I'm going to stop. They're just lovely. It's kind of like the NARS blushes. I just feel like I'm like, I could always make an excuse to get another one, you know, it's not like I'm not gonna use it. Same goes for the freaking Eat 'em lip balms. Like I have Butter Mochi right here, but like all of them, Malai, the orangey one is just absolutely off the charts, outrageously gorgeous. The colors are really fantastic. The packaging is very luxurious. You get a butt ton of product. The formula is really nourishing and vegan. I never like a vegan lip balm, okay? And this is actually really, really effective and also vegan. So it's a very, very specific distinction. Then we have my 2 colorful lip products. We'll start here. This was another one. I literally was just like walking down the street in DC, and I was making a lot of snap decisions about what I was going to buy from Nordstrom, from, you know, Hermes. I was walking with Steph and she was like, you should get this, and whatever. And I was like, I want this. And she was like, oh yeah, you know, sure, get it, whatever. And I am so glad that I did, because it is truly like one of the most satisfying, like juicy, looks straight up like tangerine, you know what I mean, on my lips. And like that is what I've been wanting. I always thought that I wanted an orange lipstick, not realizing that like, because I'm a low contrast girly, I probably shouldn't be wearing an orange lipstick, you know, it needs to be a lot less saturated than that. But in this case, because it's translucent, but it also has the glitter, it just hits all the marks. It's so beautiful. It's $75. It's not something that needs to become your problem. There are plenty of other things out there that do this, but I happen to really love the entire experience here. And when I wear it, I get so many compliments and I love it. And this is the last lip product here, and it is just because I have recently become like a lip color wearer, because I sort of traveled through the same process as y'all did with me in the whole like your perfect red lip might not be red at all. This happens to be my perfect red lip, and this is Mickey from RMS, and I also happen to really like this formula. It feels cool and like water wet, like a layer of water on the top of it when you put it on, and it blots beautifully. It wears full coverage beautifully. It's truly my French girl lip. You know, if I'm just gonna do like a very light face of makeup, you know, like not a lot of anything else, put this on as the focal point. It is the moment. It is my red lip. And if you have not watched that video and you're looking at that and you're like, that's not red, go watch the video. It's a really, really fun video, and I will show you how to find yours too. All right, I will round this out with something that I would finish my routine with, and that is the other end, the bookend of the NARS primer moment, which is the light reflecting, I did it again, the light reflecting makeup setting mist. I like this tremendously. It doesn't give quite as much like syrupy glow, like that glycerin glow that you get from like the MAC Fix Plus, which I do have right here on hand, like, you know, Jesus at the right hand of the Father, because it's very important to me, and it's not like I'm forsaking that for this, but this does have a unique distinction of just leaving a really beautiful finish without necessarily like having to melt powder. I will put this on top of like a full face of cream makeup, or even just like a couple of things where like not all of my skin is even covered with makeup, and it just leaves a really beautiful hydrated finish on my skin. It feels halfway between a finishing spray and a skincare product. And I know that they kind of all say that they are that, but this one definitely like hits the mark on that. I feel like NARS is doing a really good job with this light reflecting line that they've been coming out with, just in making skin look really happy and hydrated and healthy. So this little duo right here, I have been very, very impressed with. For my very dry skin. Wow, 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 y'all, yes, that's my top shelf. Those are all the things that I have been unable to put down because they are so tight in circulation in my personal routine, and I love being able to share this kind of stuff with y'all because I feel like it is the most important thing for someone who does just absolutely barrel through every single new release and, you know, get this like really exhaustive lay of the land of everything to be able to stop and remember how to interact with my collection intuitively and to be able to share that with y'all. So I appreciate that y'all usually like this series. I hope you liked this one. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. If you're new here, subscribe while you're here. I would love it if you did. Thank you to Current Body for sponsoring a portion of today's video. Definitely check out my link down below. Use my code, check out the new radio frequency device. I cannot say enough about it. And thank y'all for watching. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next one.